Happy Black History Month.
Happy Black History Month, my gorgeous queen.
Good morning.
Good morning, darling. How are you today?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm really excited about today. I'm
All
really,
right.
really excited. I'm really excited.
Awesome. I am too. I'm a little starstruck still, so that makes me tongue-tied, so I apologize in advance.
Don't worry, me and you both. Me and you both. I was just like,
Yeah, I'm gonna have to do some mommy made me mash my M&Ms. Yes. If you didn't know, I'm Kumi.
And I am Benet. And this is the CastABLE podcast where we focus on what we can do to abolish ableism in the entertainment industry. I know I'm a little starstruck, even though they very close to me. But
yes, our guest is phenomenal, and you've known them. You've had the honor of knowing them for a while, and I literally just met them moments ago, and I was like, oh my gosh, they're here. We're in the same virtual presence.
And they are just the most magnificent being, spirit. And yes, they are extremely important to me, and I love them, and I've known them for a very long time. And it's one of the relationships that I cherish very, very, very much.
Yes.
But before we go and get all starstruck, because I could talk about them for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours because of how much love I have for them, I want to kind of delve into like the whole Black History Month type of situation.
Yes.
And I want to bring some awareness to some fabulous activists, creators, people in history that actually have disabilities. And some we know of and some that we don't know about. And I'd like to bring and shed some light on them because a lot of them I didn't even know.
Amen. Thank you. I think intersectionality is so important. And when we have important holidays or celebratory months like Black History Month, I think it's really important to highlight people who are Black and for us, I think it's Black and disabled.
Yes.
But yeah, please. Enlighten us.
Sure. And I'm going to get a little tongue-tied even talking about these people because they're just also phenomenal. And I'm learning this as I go as well. But Harriet Tubman actually had epilepsy, and she was not born with epilepsy. They believe that she started to suffer epilepsy after being hit at the age of 12 over the head by one of her slave owners. And I mean, the fact of the matter that she accomplished so much when there were no cures, not cures, but there were no ailments, there were no medicines, there were no anything. And this woman literally, you know what I mean? She changed history. She went out and did the most amazing things despite having this disability. Do you know what I mean? Where before they knew nothing about it.
Yeah, she's phenomenal. Like, and I think it's very shocking for people who don't already know about Harriet Tubman's disability to learn about it. And I think their first thought is always, and she went back for more.
Right.
Like she kept going back, bringing more people back. And if that is not a testament to the strength of people with disabilities, then I don't really know what is.
Honey.
I mean,
she went back. That's the key. She went back.
Yeah.
And again, and again, and again, and again.
Yep. One of my favorite historical Black and disabled figures is Brad Lomax, who had MS, and he was actually in the Black Panther movement. But he was very key in the Section 504 movement, where there were literally 30 people with disabilities that occupied a government office for 30 days. And they slept in there in their wheelchairs on the floors. They literally, like, I don't know if people without disabilities understand, but sleeping or being in a space that is not created for your body with specific disabilities is a very it's very risky, life risking. And because of Brad Lomax, there was a huge partnership with that group of people with disabilities in the government building, and with the Black Panthers. The Black Panthers came in and fed people. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's
pretty dope story. Yeah. Yeah. You should check it.
fascinating.
If you haven't watched it already, it's an amazing documentary called Crip Camp, produced by the Obamas. It tells a beautiful story about Section 504. But yeah, Brad Lomax to me is a champion.
And and Michelle Obama's father had MS as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm sure that also ignited her fire. I mean, the Obamas, we could talk all day about the Obamas as well, but having it be so close to home, and Brad Lomax having MS and her father having MS, I'm sure it was just like a kind of like a full circle moment for her. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. So I know we've talked about a few historical figures, but let's talk about some of our favorite Black and disabled creators.
Oh, well, I mean, I've been kind of like going on a doom scroll, about people, and I'm learning as we go. But I mean, there's so many fabulous Black disabled creatives.
Mm-hmm.
And for people, if they want to go check it out or do research, there's blackdisabledcreatives.com. Excuse me. There's Ramp Your Voice, who was created by Valissa Thompson. There's the National Black Disability Coalition. And then some of the specific ones is Lola Spencer. I mean, phenomenal.
So good.
Phenomenal.
So good.
She was diagnosed with ALS at the age of 14, and I think they gave her 5 years to live, and she's like, no, I'm not done.
She's like, no, I'm gonna go book an HBO series.
Exactly. We're just gonna keep going.
The Sex Life of College Girls.
Right.
That series, amazing. She's hilarious.
Screw your diagnosis. Screw what you think you have planned for me. I have something completely different.
Yeah.
And Haben Gurma. Oh my God. The first deaf blind woman of color to graduate from Harvard.
She's amazing. Yeah. She's really amazing. Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Stephanie Thomas, the founder of Curatable, who's a disabled stylist, and people in the film and television industry. Also, just anyone can reach out to her, and she helps dress people with disabilities and gives, and teaches and informs people on how to do so with respect. I mean, there's so many. Kia Brown, who's the founder of the hashtag Disabled and Cute.
I like that, Disabled and Cute.
I know, right? We should start adding that to our little...
Right?
Because we are disabled and we are cute.
Very cute.
Absolutely. And then there's Tatiana Lee. She's an award-winning actress and activist with spina bifida. Clara Holmes, who has Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. And Evie Oddly, the phenomenal drag queen who won, oh, please forgive me for what season she won. She won RuPaul's Drag Race. Yes. And Clara Holmes, she's a fashion model and public speaker in London. And
that's amazing.
Definitely. I mean, I think the most important thing is it is so empowering to see people with, like we talked about, the intersectionality of being Black and disabled, and to be able to continue to just go against the odds and literally magnify and represent themselves and be successful at it. I think it's just so inspirational.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. And I'm glad that we, have the space to uplift Black people with disabilities. I think it's really important that people have a deep understanding of the contributions of not only Black Americans, but Black Americans with disabilities as well.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so happy Black History Month, Queen.
Thank you, darling. Thank
you.
All
right. And now I'm really excited.
We come to the person of the hour. I specifically asked, the thought came into my head, and I specifically asked this person because I wanted them to be our Black History Month guest, but also because of the fact that they are just continuing to be and represent exactly how we all should be and represent ourselves, and they're being awarded for it. My dear friend, J Harrison Ghee, is an American actor, singer, and dancer best known for their work on Broadway and beyond. They originated the role of Andre Mayem in Mrs. Doubtfire, a role they also played in the Fifth Avenue Theater at an out-of-town engagement in 2019. They've received recognition for their performance as Lola in Kinky Boots and was the closing Lola on Broadway for Kinky Boots when it closed. And in December of 2022, they originated the role of Jerry Daphne in Some Like It Hot, a stage musical based on the 1959 film of the same name. They won the 2023 Tony Award for Best Leading Actor in a Musical for their performance, and just recently won a Grammy for Best Musical Theater Score. In total, Jay has won a Tony Award, a Grammy Award, a Drama Desk Award for Outstanding Lead Performance, an Outer Critics Circle Award, and they were nominated for a Drama League Award and the late, great Chita Rivera Award. And I'll let them tell you about the newest award they were just honored for over the past weekend. But also in 2023, they were named as one of Out Magazine's Out 100. Ghee, along with Alex Newell, became the first openly non-binary performers to win a Tony Award. And it is our complete honor and blessing to have the incomparable and magnificent J Harrison Ghee.
Hello.
Hello, my beloved one. Look at that glorious face.
Thank you for that beautiful introduction. It's like, it's wild hearing your things spewed back at you. Like, oh, right. Okay, that happened. And that happened. Okay, yeah, that did happen.
But you're like, oh, I did that. I did that. Hi.
I was looking at them and I was like, okay, wait, I know there's more. So I have to add more and it was just like, there were some I didn't even know about.
Ooh, yeah.
First of all, welcome to the CastABLE podcast.
Thank you.
I have been a fan for a while, and I'm tongue-tied. I know I said that earlier when you joined previously, but I'm very, very grateful for your time and for honoring us in this space and allowing us to uplift you, but also to talk about things that are important in this industry as as a Black creative, as a beautiful Black person, just killing the game.
Thank you.
And staying true to themselves the entire time.
Yeah. That's amazing. So yeah, throughout your journey, you've never been apologetic about who you are. Can you elaborate on some of the stigmas that you've had to endure to somewhat humanize your experience to those who see you as the star that you are?
Yeah.
And, because we see celebrities as not human, and as someone who had not had their fair share of experiences and hardships, but that is not the case.
No, yeah, I'm grateful for moments like this in my life where I get to sit and process the experience and be with myself, because there's so many things that I have had to overcome within myself, within my community, within society, that just could have been obstacles that really held me down. I always growing up in North Carolina, my father was a minister and a pastor, and some would think the limiting thing about being queer and having a foundation of faith that they don't go together, but trying to find that on top of entering a world of entertainment and craziness, it has been a journey of peeling this onion and getting the mess out of the way to stay true to the bulb that was planted, the seed that was planted. Yeah, there were moments of turmoil, and Benet has experienced these in my life of like, I can't be this queer person. I can't be free. I can't be out. I can't do that because I can't be successful. That's what I have been told. But always knowing within myself, I'm capable of so much more. So why would I allow all of this to hold me down? And it's been fun and interesting navigating all of that.
I mean, it's so true. And I think when you say that, especially for me, it's like, you know, now that I am disabled, it's literally having to tell myself that same story, you know, because we tell ourselves these things where it's like, I can't do that. I can't, you know, and it's like, no, there's something inside, and being true to yourself and listening to yourself. It's like, no, you can. And I do remember those times that you would just be like, I don't know. And I'd be like, oh yes, Jay, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's just been fascinating just to see, I wouldn't even call it an explosion, but it's just like a star is born. And when a star is born, it does this kind of exploding type of situation, and has this, and it's literally just outstretched and reaching towards everything. Your light is touching everything. And it's just so beautiful to see. But you are the first, alongside Alex Newell, to be recognized and awarded the highest achievements in theater, as the first non-binary performers to win a Tony in a lead role. How do you feel that closes the gap on bringing awareness to the LGBTQIA+ community? I mean, there's definitely more that needs to be done. Yes.
I mean, so much more that needs to be done, but it is a step in the time of history that like anything is possible. And that journey, the experience of that, creating that show, creating that role, and standing firm in who I am as an individual and an artist in this commercial space, and being like, hey, y'all got to trust me. Follow me as I follow Christ. This, you know, that mentality of like, let me do what was put in me and trust that like, this gonna work out all right. If y'all just come with me. Like it because it was that thing of like, okay, well, who are you? If you're playing this role and people are so concerned about a man in a dress and all this thing, go back to little J and check in and be like, who is the human being that was put on this earth to be an artist? Who is that?
I love that.
And check in with that at all times of like, does this ring true, or did somebody put something in your head that made you not believe this was possible or a thing? And as you said in the intro of like the award I received recently, the Human Rights Campaign gave me the Visibility Award in Charlotte, North Carolina at their annual gala. And it was so humbling because I said in my speech that it was like, I didn't see myself represented in North Carolina. Mm-hmm. I didn't see a successful Black queer person, or I didn't know it until later that I was like, oh, Andre Leon Talley's from North Carolina. Mm-hmm. And then it was like, I do exist. And then I, moved to New York to study theater, and I found Billy Porter, and I said, I do exist. And that gave me the mustard seed of faith and hope that like, okay, great. If that's possible, then anything is. And so it was that, and then continuing to trust my inner voice of like, you got work to do, and there's a ministry, and there's, purpose in my full experience, and not hiding from that. And my career is starting to be a reflection of that. Doing Kinky Boots, like, ripped me open. Like, it really did. I was in therapy for 5 years with that show, because I was on stage having full breakdowns of singing Not My Father's Son and Hold Me in Your Heart, and like, the art and the music to my real life.
Oof. Really, truly, and being in the audience and watching this and knowing the story, it was, I mean, it, like I say, there's no other way to explain it, but literally, it's like universe, mother, father, God has literally created this path where Jay is truly just literally living in their present moment and validating every single experience. And the joy and the blessing of it is that we get to watch it. And I'm sorry
Yeah.
that we are watching some of your most, you know what I mean, hardest moments, but it is so glorious and beautiful to be with you on this journey and to just watch this star that has literally gone through so much pressure and allowing us just even a small window into the magnificence that is the validating of yourself and validating your experience at all times. I mean, I watched you when you were service, factory worker.
Yeah.
And then to watch you sing Not My Father's Son, I'm sure a lot of people were a mess, but just to watch you transform and heal yourself through the gift of music and the gift of performing, and then to even move on to being fully recognized and just step into the role of Jerry Daphne is just, I mean, come on. Like,
I want to know if you could describe the feeling of stepping into your purpose in one word, what word would that be?
Ooh.
Great question.
Yeah.
I'm
Sorry,
telling
I
you.
know it wasn't on the list of questions provided, but
I'm telling you,
sometimes
this is why
word?
this is why she's my queen.
One word.
it
I
could be a
mean,
word or two. I'm not limiting you. You are not one to be limited.
thank you. Because
Mm-hmm.
I am in my limitless thinking
Yes,
era.
you're in your limitless era.
But honestly, it's powerful.
I love it.
Because, and it's so funny. At the end of the gala the other night, these two ladies came up to me and they were like, "Oh my God, we knew you were somebody when you walked in the room. Like your outfit, you look gorgeous, all the things." But they didn't know I was getting honored. And so one of the ladies asked me, this Black lady, she was like, "Do you always command this kind of attention when you walk in a room?" And without missing a beat, I said, "Yes."
Yes.
Because it was like, I no longer have to apologize for any part of me.
Nope.
At any given time to anybody else.
You never had to initially, but stepping into that, into that space in your life where you know that, like down to your toes, that's what you believe.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful feeling.
And a moment that really shifted me was a night we got to honor Andre DeShields, Tony Award winner Andre DeShields last year at Joe's Pub. And he was talking about his ministry, and part of his purpose was to remind Black men to walk in their majesty. And when he said that, I was like, "Oh, you're talking about all of God's creations here. Like everybody should." And I said this to this lady. I was like, "We don't need an excuse to walk in our majesty. We don't need approval to be able to do that." So and she was like, "You know what? You're right." Because at first she was like, "Oh wow, you take this." She was like, "You're right. Let me." I was like, "Yeah." And so it was the move from North Carolina to New York was so intentional of like seeking that freedom and seeking the like, I can't be in this place to be effective. I got to go somewhere else. And continuing to do that, to then be like, okay, New York was great. Now beyond here, where I'm going to Tokyo. And everybody's watching me like, "What are you doing? Come sit down." Like, and you're like,
no.
I got to keep stretching myself to find the fullness of what's possible.
Yeah. And they never stopped. When they got to Tokyo, they never stopped. I mean, they kept creating. And, because that's where we met. We met in Tokyo. And I would just come out, and we pretty much spent every day together from the moment we met. It was like we were like, it was like kismet. It was destiny. And sometimes I would literally be standing in the wings and I would just watch them literally on stage, just kicking and dancing and expressing themselves and literally, you know, trying new things during one of the shows. And I'd just be like, oh, this is so amazing. And then they were like, I want to start working on Crystal Demure. And just literally seeing them unapologetically continue to just break down the doors and break down the barriers and just be like, no, I want to, you know what I mean? And fighting that stigma and all of that pressure. It was glorious to see. And it was just watching, you know what I mean? Watching magnificence and just seeing them grow and continue to be validated and loved and cherished as much as I cherish them, as we both get very teary-eyed because they
she always does this.
She has a way. She has a way. I'm sorry. I should have emailed you. Please put tissue next to you.
As I sat down, I was like, "Ooh, I should probably," like right before I signed on, I was like, "I should probably grab a." I was like, "No, I'll be fine." But
no, but seriously, I would literally watch them, and then they would wear this yellow shirt, all this long sleeved yellow shirt, and they would just be out on the stage in between shows dancing. They would be in ballet class with the dancers. They were just, I mean, they wanted to try everything. Mm-hmm. They wanted to do everything. They wanted to experience everything. And it was literally like there was this fearlessness that was so infectious. And I was also jealous at the same time because I was like, how can they be so fearless? How can they? I mean, it was and that's
magnificent. The thing I hope to, and Benet and I have talked about this, is just like, that's what I hope to encourage in people. Everybody has access to this.
Thank you.
To the knowing, it's, again, removing everybody else's voices out of our heads, because even in how we communicate, oftentimes, and this has come up not only in conversation with Benet, but like recently in other conversations of like, how we will add these connotations to certain things. Like we say these, you know, disability, and it's something that then we add these extra things of like something they're struggling with, or somebody's you know, and you're like, or this is a part of me, but it doesn't define me. It doesn't limit me in this way that, like, yes, I have this, and I, like you were saying earlier, Kumi, it's like that thing of like, yes, I may have this disease and I am capable of accomplishing this.
Yeah,
I have
absolutely.
This disability. However, I am don't let that limit me in your head.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And people will constantly, from the day that we come out the womb, put limitations on what we can and cannot do. And I would just really like to commend you for your bravery in stepping into your power, which is your true self. And just because being you, simply being you, has provided so many other people like you the opportunity to think about what it truly means to step into their power and the possibilities of their life by doing so. So I just really want to commend you and thank you for that. There's a lot of people who you probably will never meet who are grateful for that as well. And I know that it does not, I know that is definitely, you're very aware of that. But we all know that representation matters. To you, why is representation so important?
Again, it was that thing of like the possibility of seeing any ounce of yourself succeeding in the world is something to latch on to. Again, finding Billy Porter's album of At the Corner of Broadway and Soul Gate literally was like, yeah, those are parts of me too. And that's creating something over there. Great, wonderful. Andre Leon Talley, you are out here in the fashion world, traveling, being such an influential being and like person in this world. Great, that's possible too. I am all these things. RuPaul, you are moving and shaking in the world and creating a legacy that it shows me that I can be limitless. Because these beings who are close to my energy are like, great, yeah. And it gives me hope. And I know that it's like, again, the intentionality of seeing the purpose in Jerry, Daphne, and Some Like It Hot was like so it was like fervent in me that I was like, no, this is a moment for me to like really do something here. And it was beautiful to be to be received in such a way. Mm-hmm. And to see so many queer youth at the stage door literally tell me, these babies who were like, I've never seen myself so clearly before. And seeing the hope in their eyes of like, thank you. Seeing these parents bring their trans children to the door and be like, you've given them something to look forward to. You've given them something to latch on to. That meant everything. And it was so overwhelming a lot of times. And but it was a part of the purpose. And that is more than anything. That's why it was like everything is so ministry driven of like, no, I have to do this. This is what I was given to do. Like, again, my mother raised me that was like, you've been given something. Now do something with that. Your experience can help somebody else. Woo!
Well, wow.
I mean, exactly. So, I mean, as you can see, whether they choose to have me around for the rest of their life or not, I'm literally not going anywhere because there's something extremely special in Jay. And even in my journey becoming disabled, Jay we've sat down and had long conversations and literally using I would call it the formula or the method or the enlightenment that Jay has been using and is using to create and curate their own life. I can do the same and adapt it to what I need it to be within my new chapter and new, part 2 of my life of being disabled. And I truly want, before when I was an able-bodied human, I would go and I would watch, shows and I'd be like, I see myself. And especially when it was, time to, when things were opening up and there were actually people of color in lead roles and stuff like that, I was like, oh, this is so exciting. I see myself. This is so inspiring. And now yet becoming disabled, I'm seeing less and less of myself. And I really wanted to highlight that in the disabled community, we've been passed over time and time again. And I ask you, my glorious, gorgeous friend, what do you think the gateway to representation is? And what do you think can be achieved and that needs to be done to include all of us?
Yeah, it's something I have conversations with in every meeting I go into recently is with industry folks. I'm like, for us to be a creative and imaginative field, we are so limiting of ourselves in how we tell stories and the stories we choose to tell.
Yeah.
There are so many opportunities literally written into things for opportunities for people to be seen, and we don't take them. For so long in the industry, we've allowed straight people to just be running around here acting queer and doing their version of that, as opposed to authentically hiring queer people to do it.
I had to cut that, baby. Just running around here, willy-nilly.
Like, and it's just like, oh, we're supposed to accept this, as opposed to authentic casting. And then even things like Wicked, where you have a character like Nessa Rose in a wheelchair. Why? What? Y'all have been around 20 years and y'all have not.
20 years.
Like, that's literally an opportunity for you to like put representation on a stage. And there are many people who are capable of doing that role. Why has it not been done?
Right. Yep.
Again, people run around here playing and how they choose to do their jobs. It's one of the things I say often. I'm like, okay, that's how you're choosing to do your job. And it gives me hope, because I'm like, if you can be doing that at that level and people are celebrating that, it gives me hope that what the seed that is planted in me, great. Because if y'all live for that, I got something over here for y'all that y'all really gonna enjoy.
It just like I hear you speaking, and I cannot, like, if I could raise my hands and like pray, finally, these people out here running around just mediocre and okay with it. Mediocre at best.
And
At
okay
best.
with it. And okay with it.
And
they
okay
say
with
that's
it.
you clapping for that? Oh, okay.
Oh, we celebrating that? Oh, you like that?
Oh,
Okay.
I see.
Right.
Again, I love for people to kind of dismiss her, like, you're like, if I'm an underdog, great, count me out if you want to.
Yeah.
Or think less or nothing of me, because when I show you what I'm capable of, don't gag, because it's always been there. You chose not to see it.
Amen.
Exactly.
It's like, with all of this that's happening in my life and in this moment of my life right now, people keep asking, how does it feel? And I'm like, I feel like the person I've always desired to be.
Yes.
I'm just, again, shedding these layers of everybody else to be like, oh, this has always been here.
Y'all just weren't ready.
Oh, so y'all just waking up? Okay, cool.
Oh, there's more to
so
me.
We can start the party now?
Oh. I know, and I love you.
Take me out and let the two of you just like literally bond, because I am loving this. I am absolutely loving this.
But it's so true, though. You know, like we've always had. You've always had this in you. We've always had this in us. And, you know, Bené, I know that your disability is new, but and that you're seeing less and less of yourself, and you will see less and less of yourself, because you are what people see. Like, you know, I don't know if that makes sense. I see less of myself, but that's because I'm out here being busy being me, and that's what will happen. So,
and that's the thing that's so wild, that, like, Bené, you have been highlighting, is like, people are out here celebrating me for being me, and it's like this thing of like, oh, ooh, y'all looking over here now? But and it's the thing I try to encourage in Bené. I met her pre-disability, and so I know the fullness and the capability of who this human is. And I'm like, now you have another factor added to your life, but all of you still exist there. And as she was referring to, it's like, I operate in this holy trinity of my past, my present, and my future self working together to really be, literally be everything.
I had no idea who was going to church today.
No, exactly. And literally, when they first told me this, because I was in New York, and we were literally sitting down to dinner, and it was this whole thing where there was stuff going on, and it took me a very long time to get to them while they were sitting in the restaurant. I was like, I have to do this. I have to do this. I have to do this. And then we sat down and had this monumental conversation. And I literally fell out in this Peruvian restaurant when he was like the Holy Trinity. I was like, I literally fell out when they said that. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And I asked them a specific question about the Holy Trinity, because I was like, okay, but the Holy Trinity is there. I'm very much living in the past right now. And I'm trying to move into the present, even though it's very painful for me to move into this present, because there's a lot of reality, do you know what I mean, in this, where we wear these jackets, as you call them, layers, and we put all these jackets on. And as we grow, we wear these jackets, and it's like, damn, this is heavy, but it's comfortable, and it's our armor. And so being in the present means you have to start taking off the jackets and really identifying what the jackets are. And then even moving into the future it's like there is this blindness of the past and in my present moment. And it's like, okay, how do I move into thinking of the future? and seeing that future and opening that. It's like opening a window and seeing what could possibly be.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell you, I literally fell out when they told me this, Kumi. Like, we were sitting in the restaurant. We closed the restaurant down because it was, that's usually what it is. We usually just close the restaurant down. But I literally, ever since we talked about that, I have been moving and trying and approaching and kind of taking off the layers and trying to be in that holy trinity, because it's so true. And it can literally be adapted to anyone's situation, no matter what.
Yeah.
It really is like a universal intersectionality language that anybody and everybody can use.
Yeah. Yeah. I recently read this book called My Body Is Not a Prayer Request by an author
Who's
with
the
a
author?
disability. I'll look it up and I'll put it in the notes here. But it's essentially, and this religion is based on this standard of perfection, right? But it's their standard of perfection because we were all created perfectly in his image. So that does not mean that, my disabled body is not perfect, that, Jay's queerness is not perfect, that Bené's disability is not perfect. We are who we were intended to be. We were created to be this.
Yes.
We are the reflection of God, and if God is everything, we are that. We are everything. And that is, what helped me walk into the fullness of being non-binary. I'm like, honey, I've been all things since I was a child. People have looked at me crazy like, what is this child doing for? And I'm like, right, because I'm being something free, and I am being all the things that were put in me. And it's one of the things I'm grateful to God that based the foundation of my faith was a moment my mom had in parenting me. She said there was a moment God spoke to her and said, you're going to beat out of him what I put in him.
I'm so glad I put the seatbelt on this wheelchair because I literally almost fell.
And she started to parent me differently because she understood that like the way they were trying to rear me was going to affect who God created me to be. And from that moment on, she kind of like, she'd be like, well, all right, you don't got to wear it. If you like it, go ahead.
That's exactly his mom. Their mom.
She'll make a little shady comment. She'll do a little thing like, but she's like, oh, okay. She's like, don't make sense to me, but go ahead.
All right, you like it, you're gonna have to wear it. Ew, I love it.
But she understood that it was like she had to take her hands off me, literally and figuratively, to parent me in a different way so that I could walk in the fullness of all that God created me to be.
Woof. Shit, that's real.
And I couldn't be more grateful for her being aware and available for that message. Because again, I could have been a different human had I stayed in North Carolina and stayed under all of the mess that was put on top of me. I would be a different human being.
You would be so mediocre.
And what a waste. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no way. I can't even fathom it. You know what I mean? Like, I literally, at some point there would have been a breakout. Do you know what I mean? They would have been like, I cannot do this.
Can you imagine being mediocre? Absolutely not. I mean, this podcast could go on forever. And I know we're just like, I could talk to you forever. Bené was right. Like, you're going to love them. And I was like, I was just so starstruck. I was like, of course I'm going to love them. But now, like, I'm ready to sign up to be a member of the Church of J Harrison Ghee. I'm ready for this Holy Trinity. I'm ready to live a life beyond mediocrity because we are not created for mediocrity.
Okay.
I'm ready to go to Germany in the thrift store and get all the J Harrison Ghee goods. I'm gagged. I'm done. I can't.
It's addicting, right?
Yeah, I need a task-free 15-minute break. I have ingested so much, and you're just so beautiful.
I know.
To the core.
Thank you.
And wow, I feel like such a lucky girl right now.
It's like
And
you're
I
washed
know
clean.
just,
You know what I mean? Like it's
just, yeah. If there's anything I learned from this time with you, Jay, is that, first of all, the Holy Trinity thing, you're going to have to write a book about that because these young people need to learn about that.
I know.
But it's more than that. I've just learned that it is possible for every single one of us to live our truth. Yes, we're given different hurdles to climb or hop over, but if we want people to see us for who we really are, we have to do that work first. So
that's you bring up a point that like I have to leave you with in that case. One of the things I live by is you have to free yourself to see yourself.
mm-hmm.
You have to give yourself the space to play and to be, and the permission to be in all of that, to see the fullness of who you are. People look at me all the time and say, "Oh, I could never wear that. I could never do that."
Yes, you can.
You haven't freed yourself to see yourself.
Where's the tithing basket? I'm giving you all my coins. I'm so tired of you, but I'm not. That was, I just free yourself to see yourself. On that note, Jay, you blessed my Sunday, probably my whole life. If I am ever anywhere close to you, I would love to meet you in person.
I can't
and
wait.
Just fellowship and go to church with you at a restaurant. I don't care. But I mean, thank you so much for your time, for everything that you're doing in the community. It's just, you're amazing.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's been such a joy chatting with you all and shedding light and sharing space. It's been a blessing. So thank you.
Thank you.
You know how I feel about you. I just love you.
I love you too.
If you go missing, Jay, I'm gonna look at Bene's house first. Just saying. I'm just saying. I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna go. All right, y'all. Thank you for joining the CastABLE podcast. Thank you, J Harrison Ghee. And we will see you next time.
Oof.
Bye, y'all.
Church.